All right, well, welcome back to Whitney Outdoor Adventures. I am not coming to you from the woods, as you can see. I'm coming to you from the kitchen. So, tomorrow is one of my son's birthday parties, and one of the things I like to do is add a little something special to the party. Most of the time for our kids' birthday parties, we like to cater. Just makes it a lot more simple, especially for the amount of people that we have. But, like I said, I still like to mix in a little bit of some home cooking too. So, what we're going to be doing today and tomorrow is a bit of venison roast. So let's get started. Now I got a problem with venison. My problem is I love it. So the issue is, and I think it's an issue that a lot of hunters face, is we process up our deer, we end up eating up all of our steaks, all of our back straps and so on, because it's the best. And then you're left with a bunch of roasts and grind, burger, what have you. Well, that's what you end up with by about what? May, June, July. You've eaten all your steaks and then you got all the leftovers. Now, truthfully, they're not leftovers. Really, it's just about some of the quote unquote less desirable pieces. Now, if you ask me, most of the deer is delicious, even going down to as much as the heart and so on. But what I'm gonna show you is a roast. As you can see, the freezer's packed pretty full with a whole bunch of different stuff, but specifically the venison side of things, we're gonna eat down some of this roast. Now I pulled it out here maybe a couple hours ago. As you can see, it's starting to thaw off. We're gonna let this thaw overnight, and then I'll see you in the morning. Now what we're gonna cook the roast on is actually my little Masterbuilt stand-up smoker. The smoker, like I said, is just a little Masterbuilt electric, loaded in the side. I'll show you that in the morning as well once we get it in. But otherwise, that's all I got for today, and I'll see you in the morning. All right, good morning. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I just wanted to show you kind of the two seasonings that I like to use generally for venison. This one's butt rub. It's got a nice name, of course, but you can pick this up at most of your local stores. We get it here locally, and it's great for pretty much everything. But today, I'm gonna use Kinder's wood-fired garlic, also a really nice one. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so as you can see, I got my roast here. I'm gonna clean up some of this kind of fat and some of the silver skin on here. As you can see, I already cleaned it pretty well when we processed the deer, but I like to clean up most of this stuff before I put my seasoning on it. Just want to take that little top layer of fat and silver skin off here. Here we go. That way, of course. Some of this tissue here. Now, if you were doing this in a slow cooker, I would recommend keeping this on because it really melts it down and adds some good moisture to the meat. Get that little piece off of there. All right, get this little bit of silver skin off here. Just running underneath the skin there. As you can see, it gives us a nice clean meat there. There's a little bit more here and we should be good. Again, you don't have to do this. It's just something I like to do just to keep it cleaned up. All right, let's do our seasoning. Nice generous amount on here. Cover all your surface. It smells great. Key is to keep your hand a good 6 to 12 inches above. Just kind of helps keep it even on the meat. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, let's put it back in the fridge. It's about 8 a.m. right now. I'm planning to put it on the smoker at about 10 a.m. So that'll give it about a good hour or two in the fridge. Should help make a nice little crust on the outside when you smoke it. All right, it's about 9:45, so we're gonna get this baby turned on. Temperature is gonna be 225. Let's go ahead and get her turned up. And as you can see, classic Michigan weather. All right, so now we're gonna put our probe in. I have just a cheap Bluetooth one from Amazon. I like these because the probe stays right in the meat the whole time, and they're super cheap, super reliable. So let's go ahead and put it in. Right into the thickest part here. Something like this. That should be about good. All right, let's go ahead and throw in our roast. We're not quite up to temperature, but we will be here shortly. And that's okay. Throw this right about on the middle to top rack. Just right on the rack here. All right. Let's throw some wood chips in the side. What I like to use is hickory. That's just my preferred. I think it burns best. I've used cherry. I've used apple before. I just prefer hickory myself. What you want to do is load this up about once an hour or so. Depends on how much smoke you want. I do about once an hour. Load up our wood chips there, you can see, and throw it in. Should be good. So the key is with venison, low and slow. If you do it in a slow cooker, I recommend doing 8 hours on low. It's fantastic. It pulls apart nice. It's really good. But on the smoker, I do about 225. I'm gonna look for that, it's a smaller piece of roast, probably 3 to 4 hours, and you want your internal temp 135, as you can see there. So that's gonna be our goal. That's gonna give you a nice kind of medium rare type feel on the inside. But take it nice and slow. As you get closer to the time you want it to be done, then you can always crank up the heat a little bit at the end and to get to your temperature. So we'll check back in a little bit on that, but should be pretty good. One other thing I forgot to mention is sometimes what guys do is as this is heating up, you can actually throw your wood chips in first. That way you kind of get a nice smoke right away, right when you put the meat in. I'm not too concerned. It's gonna be in there for 3-4 hours at least. It'll be plenty smoky. But as you can see, the smoke is starting. Let's open that up just a little bit. And that smells absolutely incredible. So what you're seeing here is the finished product. What I'm gonna point out is kind of the grain of the meat. How you wanna do it is cut across the grain similar to a brisket. I do about 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch slices, as you can see there. And it turns out incredible. I mean, the flavor was great, the seasoning was great, nice crust on the outside, super juicy on the inside. So I apologize I didn't give you a little bit more of the finished product, but we had, I think 7 kids under 10 years old, so you can imagine the house was a bit of chaos. So, but it turned out wonderful as per usual. But thanks again for watching. Like I said, keep an eye out for some upcoming videos. Mike, my dad, and I are confirmed. We are going to the Florida Keys here in a few weeks to do a fishing trip. So I'm sure we'll get plenty of good video from that. Should be awesome. And I should have my maple syrup finishing up here in the next couple of weeks as well. So we should be pumping out a couple of really good videos to you. So like I said, thanks again for watching. If this is something that you like, please like, subscribe. Doesn't cost you a dime. So that's about it for today, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.